Assassin's Creed. While it is debatable, this franchise is one of the most well-known out of all of Ubisoft's creations. Many people enjoy the numerous Assassin games that Ubisoft produces. They involve two main mechanics, free running and murdering. However, some of the games in this series do better jobs at these mechanics than others. Some of the games can be way more fun than others. In this, my first countdown on this channel, I will explain the current games in order from worst to best. That means that I cannot do Assassin's Creed 4, no matter how excited I am for it. Remember, this is purely my opinion, and you'll see that a couple of times in this countdown. You can believe what you want about these games, and you can post a video response with your opinions too. So without further ado, let's start the list. Number 5. Assassin's Creed. The first game in the series booted the franchise and was a relatively fun game in its own right. But, compared to the other games, it's the weakest link in the chain. The story was unique, the cutscenes were interactive, letting you swap viewpoints, the graphics were amazing for its time, and the gameplay was fluent. However, what really let this game down were the missions. The campaign was repetitive. Very repetitive. You would do the same thing for every single DNA file, and most of the time it was a 10-minute process. The game had a shocking end mission where, spoiler alert, your master turns evil. But that's the only change in this campaign's dull pattern. Then, the game ends, and Assassin's Creed 2 comes out, but we'll get on to that later. Number 4. Assassin's Creed Revelations. Okay, before you start hating me, let me explain. As I said before, this is my opinion, and Revelations was a downhill movement from Brotherhood. I just didn't enjoy it as much as the other games. The story wasn't the best, and the missions themselves seemed like they were picked out at random. Ezio was very old and in his 40s, making it a teensy bit unbelievable that he can do all of this free running and stuff. Revelations did have some good things though. It introduced crafting, the graphics were stunning, and the hook blade makes parkour a lot faster. But for me, it was not the best game. Number 3. Assassin's Creed 2. Assassin's Creed 2 was the real boot that the Assassin's Creed series needed. You could shop at various stores, buying armor, health, potions, and weapons. The city was huge and lively, complete with many different activities to keep you occupied. Plus, you could turn all-out Tomb Raider and go into some Assassin's dungeons, utilizing parkour. Uncle Mario was downright lovable, and Ezio himself was introduced for the first time. He's cheeky and flirty at a young age, and you feel connected to him and feel his struggle. Now you may be saying, "Why, Nick? Assassin's Creed 2 doesn't have any flaws." Well, you would be right, but the other games have more benefits to offer than this game does. So, Assassin's Creed 2 is considered as the best game in the series, but seeing as we are only at number 3, it isn't the best for me. Number 2. Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. Woo boy, this game was amazing. It really wasn't any different from 2, but there were a couple of reasons why this game sneaks out in front. Brotherhood had multiplayer, which I didn't really look into seeing as I didn't have Xbox Live at the time, and the fact that you could recruit people off the streets to become assassins. You could send them off to do jobs in other countries, or you could keep them for a situation where you needed some help. I adored this mechanic, and it made the franchise seem a lot less lonely. Sadly, Uncle Mario dies in this game, so I was quite shocked at the start, but apart from that, it was action-packed, fun, beautiful, and immersive game in the franchise. Number 1. Assassin's Creed 3. Through the process of elimination, you've probably figured out that 3 is my favourite game in the franchise. A new character was introduced, Connor, who is probably not as party-loving as Ezio, but Connor is the most relatable character in the whole series. He goes through so much pain and suffering just to save his village, and on the way you find some frenemies in the revolutionaries. The time period is very well picked and it's utilised well. Huge battles would take place, were fun to take part in, and the trailer was the coolest of all the games, and it was an open world game, complete with hunting and treasure to find. It was fascinating to see the depiction of 18th century, and the historic facts were used well. The one tiny flaw that this game had was that rooftops were not the best way to get around anymore, as they were way more heavily guarded than in other games. But, in my opinion, it's the best video game in the franchise. Thanks for listening to my first countdown. Be sure to like and subscribe, it would help me out a lot. See you guys soon!